Alright, hey, what's up everyone? Here is another video for this book club. Once again, the only reason I'm doing this is so that way people who didn't get a chance to read the book or just don't have enough time, life, whatever the case may be. Hopefully this is, my idea is I can do this and it'd just be like a quick recap. And quick, I mean like hopefully less than 10 minutes, but a recap on ideas and topics and certain theories or strategic ideas that I can get from these books that will help me personally in my life, and then maybe can kind of give you an idea of what the book is about. So with that being said, the book for this month was The One Thing. All right, and this one is a book about trying to be productive and trying to make sure you achieve your life goals. Basically, there is a lot of books out there that I've read, self-help books that talk about similar things, but this book is probably the most well-written, easily to digest book that I have read that incorporates a lot of ideas from other books that I've read into one just resource for you to look at. So I highly, 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 highly recommend this book for people who are probably task saturated or feel like they're task saturated, or they feel like there's not enough time in the day to get stuff done, or I'm working so much but I don't see any results. I don't see, progress, or I'm not as productive as I think I'd like to be. For all those people out there, whether you're military or civilian, and you're struggling, or you feel like, all right, there has to be a better way. This book, once again, is awesome. It is. I would recommend it to every single person that I make contact with, even if you're not super busy or you're not a million tasks a day, and you're also managing programs, and you're managing people, and you're trying to lead events. There's a lot of us that are extremely busy, and I feel like this book came at a perfect time in my life right now, where I have a new job. I'm in charge of a private org. I have my family, to take care of. I have fitness that I have to worry about. Like, I have so many things on my plate, and my wife is constantly saying, "Hey, you have a lot on your plate. Like, you should probably chill out." And I probably do, but you know what? To be honest, after reading this book, I feel like I have a clear sense of how to go about being productive in these things that I want to do. And that is what I would say this book is for and what it's about. And um, yeah, like, I'll talk about some things that I took away from the book and that stuck with me. I have a whole list of things that I took notes for. I actually went through and highlighted everything. So if you know me personally and you want to borrow my book, then feel free. There's a ton of highlights in there and stuff that I thought were like, wow, really eye-opening, right? But kind of to give you an overview of the book, there is 18 chapters in the book, and it's a fairly easy read, and it's very easy to digest, and it's not too complex. There's not a whole lot of excerpts from, you know, medical journals or things that are kind of hard to decipher sometimes in books like these. But this one, super good, very clearly written. And so I wrote all these notes down, and just I can sit here and probably read all this, but it'd be like an hour video. So I'm just gonna speak on what I can readily think about, right, for this book. So some of the main things that I took away from this book is kind of some fallacies that we all think about. So a lot of people, for example, we use the word multitasking a lot. We all say, "Hey, I multitask," or "I'm a good multitasker," or even more, whenever you go to a job, or on your resume, like must have, you'll see job ads. They'll say like must have good multitasking skills, right? So that's one of the first things that like was interesting about the book, is like, all right, no, multitasking is bad. Like, you shouldn't be proud of multitasking. And now, since I read the book, I'm like, all right, yeah, like I'm never gonna say like, oh, I'm a good multitasker ever again, because when you really think about it, it's ineffective. It's the most ineffective way of getting stuff done, right? If I have 10 tasks in front of me and I'm kind of doing one and jumping from one to the other to the other to the other, uh, I'm not getting any of them done very well. And if they're tasks that require skill or to be a master at, I'm not going to be masterful at any of those skills since I'm multitasking, right? It's I'm not doing any of them right. So I thought that was like a really good point that this book made, and of course it's more in detail in the book, but this is just very general. And so now, from now on, I'm going to make sure that I focus at one task at the hand, one task at a time, to the best of my abilities, and then try to be masterful at that task. So that was a good one that I got from the book for multitasking fallacy. Um, Another one is A Disciplined Life. We have this. If you're a Jocko Willink fan, his mantra is discipline equals freedom. This guy wakes up at like 4 in the morning every day, like religiously every single day, works out, no excuse type of stuff, right? But I will say that he's right about what he talks about, but in this book, it kind of breaks it down in a different way, and it says, all right, we think of discipline as like, all right, I have to be disciplined for the rest of my life. I have to be disciplined for as long as it takes until I reach this goal. Well, that's not exactly 100% true. You only need to be as disciplined as you need to until you create the habit for it. So if you're trying to be like Jocko Willink, you're trying to wake up at 4 a.m. every day to work out and do his SEAL fitness or whatever. In reality, you only need enough discipline in order to establish that habit. And then once the habit is established, then you kind of don't need to use as much discipline anymore. Book says that it takes about 66 days on average to establish a new habit. So with any behavior or with anything you're trying to do, then you only need enough discipline for like the first 66 days, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And then at that point, normally you can kind of chill out a little bit, since it should start to become a habit. I thought that was a really good one, so remember that, 66 days. Willpower. They talk about willpower in this book, and there's another awesome book that I highly recommend to anybody who's like struggling with life or type of resiliency issues, or just sometimes you feel like life is overwhelming. Myself and many other people I know would recommend this to anybody, but the book is called The Simple Art of Not Giving an F, and it's by Mark Manson. And in his book, he talks about how there's only so many F's you can give throughout the day, and it's a finite resource. It is not unlimited. We don't have an unlimited amount of F's to give, right? And this book talks about the exact same thing, exactly the same theory, where our willpower, our ability to do things or resist things, or to switch tasks or to do whatever, it's a resource that we don't have an unlimited amount of. So it's important that as you go throughout your day, that the things that are most important, that are most meaningful to your productivity, try to make sure you're deliberate about using willpower on those things. Basically, in Mark Manson's words, right, give F's to the things that matter most throughout the day. And to be even more strategic about it, do them in the morning, because if you can get your stuff done in the morning, then normally your fuel tank is pretty high in the morning, and as the day goes by, it starts to be depleted by phone calls, by taskers, by life happening, right? It runs out eventually. So try to get your stuff done in the morning, and just understand, or early in the day if you're a shift worker, and just understand that it's a finite resource and it eventually does run out. So save them for the things that actually matter. Another thing that I had a good takeaway for is a balanced life. I'm pretty sure I've even said it, like, hey, try to have a balanced life. Like, you're probably watching this video and you've probably told people, like, hey, you just have to strike a balance with your life, a balance between your wife, your fitness, spiritual, work, vacation, everything's a balancing act. Like when I hear balancing these things, I imagine like a person with like spinning plates and trying to balance everything while you're also trying to juggle, right? Like, come on, like it's unrealistic and it's impossible, right? balancing is probably not the best way to describe what most of us are trying to describe. And the author does a good job on kind of reframing it and saying, like, hey, we're not trying to balance, we're trying to counterbalance our life. Meaning that when I'm focused at work, when I'm focused on be productive, when I'm focused on getting things done that I need to get done, because it's a priority, then of course the other things will not be priorities. So I'm going to be, leaning to one side. So there might be a week or 2 weeks of work where I am like all in, like just late hours, burning the midnight oil, getting work done. But on the other hand, once that's done, then it's done, and then I have to counterbalance, and then now I'm all in with life, with home. Now I can come home and like, all right, let's go on vacation. Let's go um, check out an island. Let's go, do whatever. Let's go have fun. Let's go do karaoke. Let's whatever. So the point is that life, a balance. Instead of thinking of trying to balance life, think of it as trying to counterbalance. As we go from one extreme, bounce to the other extreme, bounce to the other extreme. So life is in extremes because we're prioritizing. So they're going to be more important at that point in time. But then bounce back and forth between the things that matter. So uh, I've been trying to do that since for the last month since I read the book, and it's been really refreshing to know that um, it's actually working. So it's cool. Let's see what else. Okay, so another big takeaway that I got from this book is if you're a to-do list person like I am, and most of us are, where okay, all right, cool, I'm trying to be productive. I have a steno pad, and I just every single day I fill the whole thing up with tasks, uh, just things I have to get done throughout the day, work wise. This is not even counting personal stuff. And what happens a lot of time is we fall into that trap where the squeaky wheel gets the attention. So the thing that's kind of bothering you the most, or someone's asking for this thing the most, we oftentimes say like, all right, well, I'm going to get this thing done just to like get it over with or whatever. But what happens is it happens so much throughout the day that we don't ever get the things we actually need to get done. So the most important work should be your most important work. And for those of you who read a lot of books or go through like professional development stuff, you've probably heard of the Pareto Principle, which talks about productivity. It's also known as the 20-80 rule, which simply states that 20% of actions are what create 80% of results. And I've always known that rule and I've always heard about it before, but I've never really implemented it into my life because I don't know, I was like, oh, how do I exactly use that Pareto principle? And now I know how to do it because the author explains how to do it. And basically, the easiest way of thinking about it is if you have a to do list throughout your day of 100 items, 20% of that is 20 items, right? So everything else is could do's, but the 20% should be your should do's, right? They're more important than everything else. And the way you pick those 20% is like, all right, what items on this list, what 20% of items on this list will bring me the most results long term? Like what will make me the most productive? And then what I like even more about the author's way of doing it is that he breaks it down again. So out of those 20 things that you should do, what's 20% of that? And then now you break it down even more. So now you probably have two things or one thing. And then that's the one thing, right? Title of the book. That's the one thing that no matter what happens throughout that day, you must get that one thing done to see results or to be productive. So he calls it the extreme Pareto principle, which is awesome, and I'm going to start using it. I've already been using it, and it's great. It works perfect, so I'm probably going to use that forever now. All right, so tasks, Pareto principle, and then the last thing I'll probably talk about that really will stick with me from this book, time blocking. So if my supervisor is watching this video right now, she's going to be like, I told you so. But we have to time block, and that is a key. So you must protect that time to get your one thing done during the day. And you do it by protecting that time, which is your time block. So as the day goes by, as you know, we can't time manage, right? We can't adjust 24 hours in a day. No one can, right? We all have the same amount of hours per day to get things done. It's just how we go about getting those things done is what determines someone being a billionaire, being highly successful, or whatever you want to think of success, and then someone that doesn't have that. And like I'm gonna implement it as soon as I can. I haven't started it yet because I just finished the book, and this was at the last part of the book. But time blocking is something where early in your day, and the book says time block 4 hours, like no less than 4 hours a day, to only focus on the things that you must be doing throughout that day. And if you have to go into a bunker, then go into a bunker. And what they mean by that is, for example, I work in an office where there's other people. It's like an open floor plan type of thing. And basically, what the author is recommending is like to start making it a habit where, all right, every single day, like not every other day, every single day, I'm going to basically block a time off in my calendar that, I have a shared calendar. I'm going to block it off for everybody and I'm going to say, hey, this time block here is admin time, meaning I'm going to be here in the building, but I'm not going to be here in my office. I'm actually going to work. I'm going to go to a different office where where the phones weren't going to ring, where people won't stop by for, asking for things. And I'm going to be in this area to work on the thing that I need to get done to be productive today. And the author breaks it down super good, but that's the basis of being productive as well, is being able to time block necessary portions throughout the day to where you're not disturbed, you're not answering emails, you're not checking your phone, people aren't bothering you, you're not getting taskers. And then what's even more interesting about how they explain it in the book is it only takes about a week or two for other people around you to get used to it. So they can be like, all right, cool, Rulan, like, the first week I try implementing this, they'll probably be like, hey, where do you go? Like, is he here? Like, oh yeah, he's in another office, he's working, right? But as I start to make it a habit and I start to do it every day, then what happens is everyone else will be accustomed to it. And then they'll just understand, like, okay, oh hey, it's his time block right now. He's working on admin. And it'll just become a normal thing, and then people won't, probably go look for me because they'll just understand that every single day it's a piece of my time that I'm getting things done, right? And I thought that was a really important idea that I never implemented, but my supervisor is always telling me like, hey, if you have to get stuff done, then go to a different office, block off like on our calendar, on our shared calendar, block off an hour or two, go get that stuff done, and then come back. And she's always telling me that, and I hadn't done it yet, but now it's like, oh, all right, you were absolutely right. I understand it. With reading this book, I understand the concept, the theory behind it now, and why it's so important to actually do that. So from here on out, probably starting, we have an exercise next week, but after the exercise and everything goes back to normal, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start finding like the best times throughout my day that don't conflict with any other things like meetings or whatever, and I'm gonna start consistently just blocking off like time. So the book recommends 4 hours for everybody, minimum, but that's kind of unrealistic for me right now at the moment. So I'm probably going to do 2 hours, 2 hour time blocks every single day to just work on stuff that I need to get done. But yeah, I'm going to start doing that, and then also blocking time on Sundays so that way I can block time to plan for the things that the week is going to have in store, which is another idea that the book talks about is like, not only am I planning or am I blocking time to get the one thing done that I must get done, but it's also important to block time to plan my time, if that makes sense. So yeah, I know I've been going on for about 20 minutes now, and I should probably wrap it up here soon, but there's just so much good information on this book, and I highly recommend it. And if you listen to this whole thing, then I appreciate your patience and listening to me talk and ramble on. But those are things that stuck with me. Like, I'm not reading off any notes right now, and yeah, this whole book club is trying to just spread ideas and, see what works, what doesn't work, what I'm learning from certain books, what you're learning from certain books. So, who knows, maybe once COVID's over, we can all do like a regular book thing where people actually meet up to talk about things. But in the meantime, I'm just going to keep making videos like this, review videos, and takeaways from books and recommendations for other books, and just nerd out on this book stuff. So if you have any recommendations for me, if you think this video is stupid, or whatever the case may be, just let me know. If it's not value added, let me know. I'm not going to take it personally. I'm just trying to be the gatekeeper to information and help people interact. So that's all I have. Appreciate you. And yeah, this next book will be fun. Later.